Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 6 a.m. Club, where we start our day inspired. Today, I'm bringing you a new quote that says, "Experience is not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you." So, let's break this down. We often think that experience as something that just happens to us, events, circumstances, moments in our lives, or if you think about your career, just the jobs that you've held over the years. But this quote flips that idea on its head. It tells us that true experience isn't just the things that occur in our lives, it's how we respond, how we interpret, and how and what we do with those events, what really matters. It's a reminder that we always have the power in every situation. And that is so powerful. Life throws all kinds of things our way. Some are good, some are challenging. But what makes each of our experiences unique is how we choose to respond. Two people could go through the same event at the same time and come out with completely different outcomes based on their mindset, based on the actions they chose to take, and based on their interpretation of what just happened. It's not just the event that shaped us, but our reaction to it. And the question can be, how can we apply this to our lives? And I want to share a few practical tips that can help. Right, just five, because it's Saturday, it's a 6 a.m. Club episode, it's meant to be short. Okay, the first one is to pause and reflect. What I mean by this is that when something happens, take a moment to reflect on it, to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of just reacting. I always go back to this concept. I actually share it on a recent podcast episode that I learned on the 7 habits of highly effective people, and is the space in between the stimulus and the response. There is always a space. When we react emotionally, we're shrinking that space. But when we pause to reflect, we are expanding that space. And that helps increase our emotional intelligence on how we react to that stimulus, to that situation, to that experience. The second one is to choose your response. Remember that you always have a choice in how you respond. Whether it's a setback or a success, you need to decide how you want to shape it and how you want to let it shape you. The third tip is to reframe challenges as opportunities. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, see them as opportunities for growth. What new skill or what new perspective can you gain from this experience? Very different, isn't it? The fourth one is, of course, to take action. Experiences isn't just about thinking differently. It's also about doing. So take actionable steps based on what you've learned from your experiences. And the last tip is to reflect and adjust. Regularly look back on your experiences and ask yourself how they've shaped you. If something didn't turn out the way that you wanted, what can you do differently next time? Let's look for some real life examples of what I just shared with you. Think about someone like Thomas Edison, for example. He famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. We all think about Thomas Edison when we think about failure, and his quote on how many times he not failed, but how many times he learned what not to do. He didn't see those failures as wasted experiences. Instead, he used each failure as a learning opportunity. ultimately leading to one of the most significant inventions in human history. Or maybe consider someone closer to home. Maybe is a friend or a family member who's gone through a tough time but came out of that stronger. They didn't just let life happen to them. They actively shaped their experiences by choosing how they responded to what was happening to them. The essence of this quote is empowerment. It's a reminder that no matter what life throws at you or what happens in your life, you always have the power to shape your experiences. We're not just passive recipients of life's events. We are active participants who can turn every experience into a stepping stone for growth. Okay, as a wrap up for today's episode, I want you to think about the experiences you're going through right now. How are you choosing to respond? What are you doing with what happens to you? Maybe right now you're going through some challenging situation. I think we all have those once in a while. Maybe that is you right now, and I want you to think about how are you choosing to respond to that? Or maybe you're achieving great success. How are you choosing to respond to that? What are you doing with what is happening right now? Remember, the true value of experience lies not in the event itself, but what you do with it. You are in control. Thank you so much for starting your day with me here in the 6 a.m. Club. If you found this episode helpful, please do me a favor and share it with someone who might need this message today. Now, let's keep growing together, one experience at a time. Until next time, have an amazing week ahead.